Hello and welcome to Cavs Daily, your one-stop shop for everything Cavs related. The good, the bad, the ugly, the tea, the rumors. We're going to talk about it all here. I'm your host, Paul Williams. As always, appreciate you guys coming along for the ride as we have an off day today where we can get into some things outside of just a certain game. And we're going to do just that right now. If we could, before I jump into this first topic, like, subscribe, comment. Come along for the ride. Appreciate you guys a ton for your interactions, your comments, everything like that. And just trying to build a community of likewise Cleveland sports fans. Now, with that out the way, let's get into the first topic, which is the fact that I honestly feel better sitting here today in mid-November 2025 than I did last year in mid-November 2024. When the Cavs were reeling off 15 straight and sitting at 15-0 at the moment. Obviously, us being 9-5 this season, if you just go off records, there's really no comparisons. But luckily, basketball is a lot deeper than that. And if you're trying to win ships, your record after 15, 14, 16 games, it just isn't that vital. You, of course, don't want to get off to a terrible start record-wise, but there's so much more to what is going on in that first month's worth of games and where your team is building towards rather than just your overall record. And while I don't want to downplay last year's Cavs, we were obviously a historically, at least regular season, great team, and it was a lot of fun to watch. We were pretty much blowing out every team we played. The rare times we were in close games, we always found a way to get it done. And by this time in the season, last season, we just didn't face much adversity. This year, I feel like it's been the exact opposite of that. Since before the season started, we faced nothing but adversity, I feel like, with the injuries to Darius Garland and Max Strus and bringing a bunch of new faces into the rotation this season. And then guys in and out the lineup once the season started. I mean, even DeAndre Hunter, he missed the first 2 games and another one along the way. Jalen Tyson is out right now with a concussion. Sam Merrill missed a couple games after getting off to a super scorching start. Super scorching start, I guess. But, yeah, so there's definitely been a lot more adversity this year. And I feel like we've already been tested so much in game this season. It kind of feels like we've already had more tough fourth quarters where we had to come back and grit out wins than we had all season last year. We did not have to play our starters much deep into the fourth quarter a season ago. And this year, I mean, we're starting off pretty much every second half trailing. So not only are the starters usually playing well into the fourth quarter, they're playing until that final buzzer. And a lot of times that final buzzer is us winning a very close game or sometimes losing a very close game. And that's another thing. Some of the losses we've taken this season, I feel like are more valuable in the long run to building championship character than some of the blowout wins we had around the same time last year. I like the fact that there's frustration after some of these games and we have questions and we have things to clean up and we're working towards something. We're not looking to peak in November and December, and that's what we did last season. We're looking to peak in April and May and June, maybe March, start to really peak. And I think this team's trajectory is more in line with that. Now, you always want to win every game you can, and there's no excuses for some of the losses that we've had, and that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying there is a silver lining to them, and in the bigger scheme of things, a lot of times they are critical to building that championship DNA that the Cavs are striving towards. If you think about the NBA's history, and especially the last 25, 30 years, most championship teams don't just dominate from game 1 to game 82 in the regular season and then run through the playoffs with ease. That's just not how it usually works. Now, teams do have very good or great regular seasons and can go on to win the championship, but a lot of times the champion went through their ups and downs, took a little while to find out exactly who they were as a team. I mean, if you remember the second run with LeBron from 2014 to 2018, felt like the regular season was just like a testing ground on who LeBron is going to be able to trust when it gets to the playoffs. And I feel like Donovan Mitchell is doing a little bit of that, where he's really giving guys some rope and opportunity to step in and make some crucial plays down the stretch that maybe in other years Donovan would try to just take it all on himself and will us to victory on his own. And while there are going to be moments like last night versus the Grizzlies where Donovan did take over the final couple minutes, that doesn't happen without Evan Mobley taking over the first half of the fourth quarter, or all the big defensive plays that the guys came up with just as a crew. So I don't know. I had a chance to really sit back and reflect today, and I'm feeling really good about where this team's at. I think with all the different rotations and different lineups that we've already tried out and that we're going to be able to throw out there as the season goes on, I think this team really is built for the playoffs and built for a long run in the playoffs. And all the adversity and all the ups and downs we're going through now and will continue to go through are just the steps that most championship teams have to take at some point, and the Cavs are pushing through them. And while some pundits that aren't really paying attention, shout out to Channing Frye, who said some of the dumbest stuff I've ever heard. The Cavs do still have their core four intact, but if you haven't been paying attention, one of the guys, Darius Garland, has only played in 2.5 games, and they've had a few games where Jared Allen was out, a game where Mobley was out, a game where Mitchell was out. So, while we still do have our core four, no, this isn't the same team it's been the last 3 or 4 years, and it isn't shocking that we haven't hit the ground rolling and running the way that should be expected from a team that's been together so long. This is a new Cavalier team, and you have to be a super casual not to realize that. So, L to you, Channing Frye, that was just a terrible take. Don't know what you were talking about, especially on the road trip and podcast, but that's beyond the point. My point is, with this segment, feel good where we're at, guys, because I really do believe this 25-26 version of the Cavaliers is the best chance and the best roster we've had to win a championship, probably outside of 2016 and 2017. Now, with that tangent out the way, let's move on to stock watch of our Cleveland Cavaliers players, now a month into the 2025-26 season. There's a lot of guys that I guess would be still around the same value that I would have expected them to have at this current moment and the same value they had coming into the season. But I do think there are some guys who have definitely improved their stock thus far, and unfortunately some guys that have maybe not tanked their stock, but definitely lowered it in my eyes, and I think in the eyes of the Cavalier community. First, some of the guys that have raised their stock. Let's get Donovan Mitchell out the way. We know who he is and what he can do, but I think this is the best version of Donovan I've ever seen. He's been completely dominant. When he wants to lock in and take over a game, he might be the best fourth quarter scorer in the league right now. And I feel like he has somehow leveled up once again, and he's really knocking in on that top 5 NBA player committee. He's right there, and he's looked great so far. So in my eyes, his stock has risen. Jalen Tyson, for sure, stock up. He's missed the past couple of games with a concussion. But before that, he has been a little bit of everything for the Cavaliers. Started the majority of the games, but came off the bench and still had an impact as well. He had a streak where he scored in double digits 6 straight times, including 3 games in a row with at least 17 points. And he's doing it in all ways. He's bringing some energy and some hustle to the team. He's getting really important and clutch offensive rebounds. He's knocking down the 3 at a very, very good clip, shooting nearly 43% on almost 5 3-point attempts a game. And he looks like the real deal and a real building block for years to come for this Cavs team. So his stock is definitely way up for me right now. And Craig Porter had the best game of his career in my eyes a few days ago in Miami in the second game of the 2-game set against Miami when he scored 19 points, had, I believe, 9 rebounds, 4 blocks, 3 steals, just a heck of a game. And he's contributed in almost all of the games so far in some type of way. He's not always going to have big stats, but his defense, his timely shooting, and his hustle plays have made him stand out, and he seems like an NBA rotational piece for sure. So I do think his stock is up. And then Naquan Tomlin, especially these past 3 games, he's went from an afterthought 2-way guy to someone who I think deserves serious rotation minutes and is our 3rd best big man right now. The contagious energy he brings to the games and the chaos, the controlled, positive chaos he brings to games for the Cavaliers is something that is sorely, sorely lacking, especially out of the big man rotation, especially coming off of the bench. And I feel like he's taken the spot of, unfortunately, the guy whose stock is down the most to me, and that is Larry Nance Jr., who I was very excited about coming into the year, and I still think he can and will contribute and have his moments and bring value to this Cavalier team. And at worst, just the veteran presence he is and the winning type of mindset he has, I do think will always be valuable. But as far as on-court production goes, I just haven't really seen it from him yet, and I do not see how giving him minutes over guys like Tomlin could be justified right now. He's not really knocking down the open 3-pointer that you know he's going to get when he's out there with other guys drawing so much attention. And he's also not bringing really the rebounding or hustle plays that you would expect him to always consistently bring to the table, even if his shot isn't falling or he's not putting up big stats. There's other ways that he used to be able to affect a game that he's just not really doing right now for this Cavs team. And for that reason, his stock is down in my eyes. And if I had to pick a Cavs player whose stock has fallen the most in my eyes, I do think it'd be Larry Nance. Then the other 2 guys are for different reasons. Max Strus just being out and having so many guys like Jalen Tyson and Sam Merrill really step up and step into key roles. It's just hard to see a consistent role Strus comes back to the way he's had in years past with this Cavs team. I do think he is still a useful player, and I hate even shouting him out on a list like this when he's injured. But just because of the surprise of some of these other guys, I do think Strus's stock on this Cavs team overall is down a little bit. And then Jared Allen, while he's had some statistical good games, he just doesn't look like the same Jared Allen to me this season. And like we talked about in yesterday's episode, there's some going on with him and Coach Atkinson, and some of Coach's comments kind of verified that for me. And I just feel like Jared Allen has really taken a knock to his stock and his value, at least in my eyes, because coming into the year, I was still super high on him as a top 40, top 45 NBA player and the perfect center for the team and the core that we have. But now, after a month of NBA basketball, I am questioning it a little bit, unfortunately. To switch gears up a little bit, let's get into forecasting the week we have ahead, as the Cavs will continue to play this entire week at home at the Rocket Arena, first hosting Milwaukee, and then bringing in the Houston Rockets, followed by the Pacers, and then the Clippers will wrap up the week in Cleveland on Sunday. I think a 3-1 week is on the horizon for the Cavs. I do think if they're going to lose any of these 4 games, it will be one of the first 2, either the one against Milwaukee on Monday or the one against the Rockets. As for some reason, the Bucks just always give us a tough time. And with Giannis, you know you're in for a fight anytime you play an interdivision game against them. The Bucks are 8-6 right now. And while I do think they could sneak a win from the Cavs, we'll give the Cavs the nod right now. And then as far as the Rockets game, I think that's going to be the game of the week in the NBA period. Since I gave the Cavs the nod on the Bucks game, I'll say the Rockets steal that one in a close affair. And then I have the Cavs rounding out the week with 2 wins over the weekend. First, beating the Pacers, who have just 1 win so far this season at 1-12. Yeah, that's crazy. Even without Halliburton, wouldn't have expected that type of start. And then Sunday against the Clippers, Kawhi may be back, may not be back by then. But either way, the Clippers are also struggling heavily at 4-9 at the moment of this recording. I do think the Cavs should handle both teams with relative ease, probably double-digit wins. But the way the Cavs have been playing, nothing's a given that it's going to be an easy game for Cleveland. But I do think they'll win both of those. Now to wrap things up in this episode, we're going to get back to our weekly top 5 Eastern Conference team rankings. Again, these rankings aren't just based off record. It's a mix of recent performance overall this year so far, and what I think they will be going forward. With that description out of the way, let's start off with the honorable mention for this week, which is the Atlanta Hawks, who are finally starting to round out into form a bit. A lot of it may be thanks to a bit of a soft spot in their schedule, but they've won 4 straight and have improved to 8-5, so they get my honorable mention spot. Then at number 5, we have the Toronto Raptors, winners of 3 straight games, including beating the Cavs for the second time this season. The Raptors are also 8-5, and I thought all along they were going to be a solid team. I don't know if they'll stay top 5, but I do think they could be a top 6 team in the East, and at worst should make the playoffs through the play-in. And for now, they have the number 4 spot in our rankings. Then at the number 5 spot in our rankings. Then at the number 4 spot in our rankings, we have the Philadelphia 76ers, who at 7-5 are kind of, I don't want to say in a bit of a rut right now, but it seems like they win one, lose one, win one, lose one. So they're still trying to find their footing. But I do think they've looked pretty good overall this season, and they are a quiet contender in the Eastern Conference. They're scoring 119 points per game while giving up just under 117 points per game for a 2.7 difference. And they're a team I expect to hang around the top 6 in the Eastern Conference all season long. Then coming in at number 3 in this week's Eastern Conference top 5 is the New York Knicks, who have they've been playing better of late after a bit of a down start and playing under 500 for the first few weeks. The Knicks have righted the ship a bit, and they now sit at 8-4, which is good for a tie with us for second in the conference right now. So Knicks are turning the corner a little bit, looking pretty good doing it, and they get our number 3 spot. At number 2, I'm sorry, but it's the Detroit Pistons, who do lead the Eastern Conference right now with an 11-2 record. They have won 9 straight games, and Cade Cunningham and the crew are playing good basketball. I'm not going to knock them or downplay a 9-game winning streak, even if pretty much every win in that winning streak is against some of the worst teams in the NBA. and probably there will probably be only one or two teams that they've beaten during the streak that will even make the playoffs. Still, you can only play who's on your schedule, and they do have 9 wins in a row. I think the key to the Pistons season so far has been Jalen Duren. After an uneven first 3 years, showing a lot of potential, but never really fully putting it together. The 4th year center for the Pistons is having his best season by far. He's impacting the game on both sides of the ball, and he's finally kind of growing into the 20-10 type guy that the Pistons were hoping he could be. We'll have to see if he can sustain his 19 points per game and 11 or 12 rebound average. Also going to give them 2 or 3 blocks per game. But, yeah, to me, he's been low-key their best player. I mean, Cade Cunningham's going to get the headlines, and a lot of time it is well-deserved. But Duren is not far behind him, and the Pistons would not be where they're at without him. So shout-outs to Duren and the Pistons, who come in at number 2. And then in the number 1 spot, once again, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers. And until I see something that just makes it clear we're not the team to beat in the East, or we lose 3-4 games in a row, or we fall to 5 or 6 in the conference standings, then I'll start thinking about really lowering us. But if we're hanging in the top 2 or 3 in the standings and we continue to play pretty consistent winning basketball as we grow and gel as a team, I mean, in my eyes, we're the team to beat in the East and the best team now and going forward. And that's just what it is. If I'm wrong about that, please let me know in the comment section. And with that, we're going to wrap things up. I will see you guys again tomorrow when I drop another banger for you, talking about the Cavs, hopefully beating the Bucks. Till then, appreciate you guys if you're still here with me, and I will see you tomorrow.